You don't have to worry about backing it up. You don't have to worry about it going away. We manage all of that for you. It's highly available, so we synchronously replicate your instance across multiple Google data centers, and we can tolerate data center failures. Your application will still serve traffic. It's integrated with App Engine. We have JDBC as well as Python drivers. I believe we have Go drivers, maybe, on the way. Not quite sure. I thought I saw some of the Go guys back there. And it's you use it with a high replication data source. You can't actually use it without the high replication data source. And we have some really great migration tools, so we make it really easy for you to take a MySQL database binary file and import and export. So it's really easy to kind of move your data in and out. So we're going to do a quick demo here. We can create a Google SQL instance. We're going to put it within a project, and I'm going to show you how we can authorize App Engine applications to use this pretty quickly. So I'm going to switch back over here to our API console, and you can see I have Cloud SQL turned on. You can see that I have 3 instances right now running. I'm going to go in and actually delete one of these, and then we'll create a new one. I just kind of want to show you how easy it is to sort of manage this. So we have the instances listed here on the left-hand side. So there's 2 right now. The demo that I did at the keynote was using Gmail.com Iein1. But let's go ahead and create a new instance, and let's see how this works. So we obviously have to give this thing a name. So we're going to call this GDDSYD. And we have 3 different sizes that you have available to you today. So we have a small, which is 1 gig, medium, which is 5, and large, which is 10 gigabyte. We obviously will be flexible about this in the future. This is just where we started. So I'm going to go ahead and create a 10 gigabyte instance. And this is where you authorize your application. This is where you can say, well, I want to be able to create trust between this Google instance and my application app, my App Engine app ID. So in this instance, I'm going to do, Iein Sandbox. Maybe I have another application I want to be able to share this. So I have one called Sandbox-HRD, and so on and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and click Create Instance. And what it's doing right now is it's in the background creating the instance. We'll come back and check. It should be up and running in a minute, if not less. So this is a really nice management interface for these SQL instances. While we're waiting for that other instance to create, I want to go in and show you some of the other management aspects that you have here. So we have logs, so obviously you can kind of get some logging information. And then we have a nice SQL prompt if you don't want to use command line tools. So in this example here, I'm going to go ahead and write a select, music, select asterisk from music in my database here. Hit execute, and I should get my results right here. So it's a nice management interface. You can drop tables, alter, and so on and so forth. So it's a simple management tool for you. We also give the ability to import and export data, and this is where you really are doing backups. And so let's say I want to essentially export my music database right now. Where does it go? How does that work? And so essentially, when you click export, you give it a Google storage bucket. And so I think I have one called Iein SQL. You give it a file. We're going to call this GDDSYD backup. I'm going to click export, and it will go ahead and start backing up my instance to my Google SQL bucket in the background. And we'll come back in a second and look at that in the Cloud Storage Viewer. So that's actually pretty easy. I didn't use any complicated tools. I just using the browser interface to go ahead and manage this. So now that we have, let's see if our other instance was created. Yeah, there we go. So you see that we essentially created this 10 gigabyte instance within a minute or so, which is pretty awesome. So you can go ahead and sign up for this at code.google.com/API-SQL if you're interested in using this. There's really nice integration with App Engine. I encourage you, if you want to use SQL in the cloud, to sign up and try it out. I'm going to switch back now really quick to a servlet, and I'm going to show you, I did this in the keynote, but I'm going to go through it again here just because I can actually zoom in and take a little bit more time to talk about this. And I turned on profiling so we can actually see what the performance of this is, because we got the question, well, how much overhead is it to talk to SQL from App Engine? So we're gonna take a look at that. So I have a simple servlet here, and I essentially am getting a connection to my database. I'm making a select statement, executing a query, and printing results out. This is a pretty simple, as bare bones I think as you can get within a servlet. So let's go ahead and run this, and then we'll go look at app stats to see see how it runs. So this is called PHP Iein Sandbox Apps.com. So I have two versions of this, one in Java, one in PHP. So we're going to go ahead and click on the Java version, and there are my songs. I'm going to run it a couple of times just so we can have some stats. And I turned on App Stats, which is a great tool. If you don't know about it, I'll just show you how you actually turn it on really quick in your web.xml file. It's pretty simple. Not in this project, it's actually the other project, sorry. Here we go. WebXML project. WebXML under WebInf, you enable app stats, and there's basically two components to it. There's the first part of the servlet. There's a filter and a servlet. The filter is to capture information, and the servlet is actually view it. So I've turned this on. It's really easy to look at. So let's go ahead and look at this and see what just happened. So I'm going to pick this one right here. And what you see here, if I can zoom in, is that we basically did an open and an exec. So this was opening up the JDBC connection, making the SQL select, and all that happened in 12 milliseconds, which is super fast. So there wasn't a lot of overhead. You can actually click into these and you can sort of see a stack trace and get more detailed information about the call if you're interested in that. I'm going to look at one other one because that one was a little suspect to me. Yeah, all right. So there's a little bit of different performance. This one took a little bit more time to open up the connection, but you get a sense that you can actually go through and profile these pretty easily. So that's pretty much what it's like to use SQL in Java. It's standard JDBC. A number of people have tried running Hibernate. I think Iein got Hibernate running. It's pretty much JDBC compliant, so anything you can do in Java should work more or less with it. So I'm going to jump back here to the slides. A couple other quick points. Importing and exporting data, you can essentially use MySQL dump. You'll give your database name, you'll set -- hex blob, and idle output in a format that we can use to ingest. And then you can use Google Storage Utility to copy that into the Google Storage bucket for import. So it's pretty easy to do. You can also run your local App Engine dev server against a local MySQL instance. It's pretty easy. We have instructions on the side. You're essentially going to copy the JDBC driver into the libimple folder and then set a couple of parameters within Eclipse to go ahead and load that driver. So it's really easy for you to, in App Engine, build and test locally an application against MySQL and then run that in the cloud. All right. Last part of the demo I have, and then if we have any time we can do question and answer, is I wanted to talk really quickly about PHP. So one of the nice things about the JVM we use is that, of course, you can use most bytecode. And there's a wonderful interpreter called Quarkus that was built by the people at Coucho. It's open source. It's a PHP interpreter. So what I have here is a little PHP file. And I'm going to zoom in here. This should look like standard PHP to most folks. Here's the PHP tag to turn on the interpreter. The only difference here is that when you open up the PDO connection in PHP, you're going to give it a different connection string. And so what you see here is it says JDBC because it's obviously Java. You give it Google, JDBC : Google tells the PHP interpreter to use our JDBC driver. You say RDBMS, and this is the instance name, which is genome::Iein, and you can give it the database. So all this stuff is documented, but you give it a connection string, and then once you have that handle under $con, you can actually just run it like standard PHP. So I've done a simple, select query here, nothing special. And to make all of this work, I basically had to do two things, which was take the Quarkus jar and put it into my lib file, as well as turn on a servlet filter to intercept asterisk.php files and run it through this. So let's see if this actually works, which it does, but let's look at it again here. So I'm going to click PHP. It'll take a second for it to load, and it should print out the same database. So I'll run it another time, and then we'll take a look at app stats to see how much overhead there was with this. So here we go, foo.php. I'll click on this first one because it was So 18 milliseconds to open up the JDBC connection, 10 to run the exec, and another 8 to close it. So, this time frame, it took basically 42 milliseconds to run this command. So it's pretty fast. Now the last thing I want to demo, because a lot of people ask me this, is okay, great, I can use Cloud SQL with App Engine deployed, but what is it like using it remotely from, like let's say I wanted to do that same command on my laptop. Why would or wouldn't I want to do that? So I'm actually going to run the exact same app that we have that I just deployed locally, and I've turned app stats on as well, and we're going to take a look at the latency difference. So we can get a sense for the overhead. So here's the servlet running locally. I'm going to go ahead and click PHP. And it's going to take considerably more time because it's, the queries, the JDBC queries are going from my laptop up to App Engine and coming back. Okay, so I'm going to run it a couple times just to get a good sample. And let's go back here to app stats. And what we should see, so yeah, you can see there's a considerable difference in performance here. So it took 1,300 milliseconds to open the connection, 1,600 to run. In this example, I actually did 2 queries and then close it up. So that was like almost 8 seconds. So you basically, for testing locally, you want to run a local MySQL instance and then deploy, and that's how you're going to kind of mimic the real-world performance. So we'll go back to the slides here real quick. And how much time do we have left, Iein? I was asking this earlier. It's 3:11. Am I done? No, how much time do I have?
Oh, how much time do you have left?
I'm sorry, I'm not a good timekeeper. I apologize.
Until 3:25.
Okay, cool. So we have a little bit of time. All right, great. So thank you. So so it's pretty easy to run PHP. Lots of people run other languages on top of the JVM. You can do Clojure, you can do JRuby. Give it a go. Hooking up Java to it should work fairly easily, just because it is JDBC. Those other languages typically have good bindings to take a MySQL JDBC connection and use it within the language natively. So you should have it shouldn't be that difficult to run an App Engine. So the last part of this was just quickly talking about the Google Plus API. This was the example I showed earlier.